Buckle up because these 25 car racing games on Nintendo Switch and Switch 2 are pure adrenaline from start to finish. Number 1 on the list is Mario Kart World, the latest flagship entry from Nintendo that finally brings the beloved kart racing franchise into a full open-world experience. Built exclusively for the Nintendo Switch 2, this game is a landmark release that expands everything fans loved about the series. The open world is packed with hidden challenges, secrets, and visual spectacle that you can explore freely between races. On-track gameplay feels tighter and more refined than ever, with drifting and boosting mechanics that reward both newcomers and veterans alike. A massive knockout race mode shakes up the traditional format in exciting ways, dropping players who fall too far behind at set intervals. The sheer scale, visual polish, and variety of content make this the single best reason to own a Nintendo Switch 2 in 2026. Coming in at number 2, Mario Kart 8 Deluxe remains one of the most content-rich racing games ever made and still holds up beautifully on the original Nintendo Switch. With 48 courses, including all DLC tracks, a reworked battle mode, and support for up to 4 players locally, this is the definitive social racing experience. The track design is creative and full of personality, with routes that loop, twist, and surprise you at every turn. Anti-gravity sections add a unique visual flair that never gets old. Online multiplayer is smooth and competitive, with a ranking system that keeps you coming back for more. Even years after its release, this remains one of the best-selling and most played titles in the entire Switch library, for very good reason. Third on the list is Fast Fusion, a futuristic racer developed by Shinin Multimedia that launches alongside the Nintendo Switch 2 as one of its standout early titles. Drawing clear inspiration from classics like F-Zero and Wipeout, it delivers blistering speed across a variety of track environments with stunning 4K visuals running at a smooth 60 FPS. The central gameplay hook involves fusing 2 different vehicles together mid-session, combining their individual stats to create a custom racing machine. This adds a surprisingly deep layer of strategy to what already feels like an intensely satisfying speed-focused racer. With multiple game modes and an attractive budget price point, Fast Fusion is an easy recommendation for anyone hungry for something different on Switch 2 beyond the usual kart racer options. Fourth up is Sonic Racing CrossWorlds from Sega, a kart-style racer that arrives as a genuine challenger to Nintendo's own franchise and does an impressive job of standing out. The gameplay moves at a faster and more chaotic pace than most kart racers, leaning hard into arcade energy that feels fresh and exciting. The standout feature is the travel ring mechanic, which teleports you through portals into entirely different worlds mid-race, drastically changing the environment and track layout in real time. A deep vehicle upgrade system gives you meaningful progression to work toward, while the Switch 2 version runs at 60 FPS with improved resolution over the original. Sega is actively supporting this title with free updates and a paid season pass bringing characters like Pac-Man into the mix throughout 2026. Number 5 is Gear.Club Unlimited 3, a timed Switch 2 exclusive developed by Eden Games, the studio behind the original Test Drive Unlimited series. Set across the coastal roads of the French Riviera and the scenic highways of the Japanese countryside, this is one of the most visually impressive racing titles available on Switch 2. Unlike an open-world racer, it focuses on traditional circuit and point-to-point racing, with a curated selection of fully licensed vehicles, including the Mazda RX-7 and McLaren 720S. The gameplay strikes a balance between arcade accessibility and simulation depth, with adjustable driving assists that let you dial in the experience you prefer. A standout highway rush mode challenges you to weave through traffic at high speed, keeping things varied and entertaining across the full career. Sixth on this list is Hot Wheels Unleashed 2 Turbocharged, the sequel to one of the most surprisingly excellent arcade racers of recent years. This entry builds on everything that made the original great, adding new vehicle types, including bikes, ATVs, and buggies, alongside the classic die-cast cars. The track builder returns and is even more powerful this time, giving players near-endless creative freedom to design and share their own custom courses. Race environments range from a rooftop skyscraper to an underwater setting, each one oozing the colorful, over-the-top energy that defines the Hot Wheels brand. The roster of vehicles is massive and diverse, with real-world licensed cars mixed in alongside the iconic fantasy designs. It plays great in both handheld and docked mode, and is one of the most fun local multiplayer options available on Switch. At number 7 is Need for Speed Hot Pursuit Remastered, a polished revival of one of the most acclaimed entries in the long-running EA franchise. The core loop pits street racers against fully equipped police officers in high-speed pursuits across scenic open environments, and it remains endlessly entertaining. You can play through both sides of the law across a lengthy career mode, with cops wielding spike strips, roadblocks, and helicopter support, while racers have access to jammers and turbo boosts. The licensed car roster is filled with exotic supercars from Ferrari, Lamborghini, and Porsche that look and sound excellent. Online multiplayer is included and holds up well, with autolog integration tracking your times and achievements against friends. It is one of the most pure and satisfying racing experiences on the entire Switch platform. Number 8 goes to Grid Autosport, a comprehensive motorsport title from Codemasters that remains one of the most serious and content-heavy racers available on Nintendo Switch. Originally released in 2014, the Switch port is one of the best versions available anywhere and includes all previously released DLC content. It covers a wide range of motorsport disciplines, including touring cars, open-wheel racing, endurance events, tuner racing, and drift competitions, giving it enormous replay value. The handling model is accessible enough for casual players, but rewards skill and precision at higher difficulty levels. Multiplayer is supported both online and locally, with a range of race types and customization options. For anyone who wants a grounded, authentic motorsport experience on Switch, this is the title to own. Coming in 9th is Burnout Paradise Remastered, a legendary open-world arcade racer that arrives on Switch with all of its chaotic, crash-happy energy fully intact. The game takes place across Paradise City, a vast, interconnected open world that you can explore freely, hunting down races, road rage events, and spectacular crash junctions. The crash mode makes a welcome return, tasking you with causing as much damage as possible at specific intersections for maximum points. Visuals have been cleaned up nicely for this remaster, and the iconic soundtrack featuring artists like Guns N' Roses and Faith No More is still absolutely pumping. All previously released DLC content, including the Big Surf Island expansion, is bundled in. It is one of the most entertaining and endlessly replayable racing games ever made, and it holds up brilliantly on Switch in both handheld and TV mode. At number 10 is Redout 2, a futuristic anti-gravity racing game that channels the spirit of Wipeout and F-Zero while carving out its own distinct identity. Developed by 3-4 Big Things, it features a roster of sleek hovercrafts racing across visually stunning and technically demanding tracks at near impossible speeds. The handling system rewards players who master the balance between aerodynamic boosting and careful navigation through tight corners, giving it a high skill ceiling that is deeply satisfying to conquer. A wide range of tracks covers diverse environments, from icy mountain passes to blazing desert courses, keeping the visual variety engaging throughout. Career mode is extensive, and time trial options give competitive players plenty of reason to keep optimizing their lines. It is one of the most underrated racing titles available on the Switch platform. 11th on the list is Wreckfest, a demolition derby and contact racing game from Bugbear Entertainment that is pure chaotic fun from the very first race. Unlike most racing titles that punish you for bumping into opponents, Wreckfest actively rewards destruction and aggressive driving with a fully simulated damage model that sees cars crumple and deform in real time. Events range from standard circuit races to full demolition derbies and bizarre novelty events involving lawnmowers and school buses. The range of battered, beaten-up vehicles gives the game a distinctive and lovable personality that sets it apart from anything else on Switch. Career mode is meaty and varied, and multiplayer is a genuinely hilarious time with friends. It runs well on Switch and is one of the most uniquely entertaining racing experiences you can find on the platform. Number 12 is V-Rally 4, a dedicated rally racing game from Kyloton that brings a strong lineup of real-world rally, hill climb, buddy, and extreme Kana disciplines to the Switch. With fully licensed classic and modern rally cars and real-world inspired locations, it delivers a grittier and more technical driving experience than most other racing games on the platform. The handling model rewards precise throttle and brake control, especially on loose gravel and wet asphalt surfaces, making it feel genuinely challenging in the best way. Career Mode tasks you with managing your own rally team, adding a light management layer to the pure racing action. The presentation is clean and the stage variety is impressive, covering everything from forest tracks to desert stages. It is the most complete rally experience available on Nintendo Switch. At number 13 is TrackMania Turbo, a pure arcade racing game built entirely around the concept of mastering outlandish and elaborately designed tracks in the fastest time possible. Developed by Nitro and Ubisoft, it features an enormous variety of track styles, ranging from stadium circuits to roller coaster-like sky tracks to dirt environments and futuristic tubes. The gameplay loop of retrying a track until you shave fractions of a second off your best time is intensely addictive. A track builder mode allows you to create and share your own courses, dramatically extending the lifespan of the game. Split-screen multiplayer for up to 4 players is supported, and online leaderboards give the time trial mode a constant competitive edge. It is one of the most pure and endlessly replayable racing experiences on any platform. 14th spot goes to Cruis'n Blast, an arcade racer that makes absolutely no attempt to be realistic and is all the more entertaining for it. Originally designed for coin-op arcades in 2017, this Switch conversion brings all of its gloriously over-the-top excess to your living room. Races take place in ridiculous environments, including a Jurassic Park setting complete with attacking dinosaurs and a neon-soaked nightclub circuit. You can unlock outlandish vehicles like a T-Rex, a unicorn, and a monster truck, alongside traditional sports cars. The gameplay is fast, loud, and entirely focused on moment-to-moment fun, with no simulation pretensions whatsoever. It is a perfect pick-up-and-play title that is especially entertaining in local multiplayer, capturing everything that made coin-op arcade racers so joyful in their heyday. Number 15 is Rush, a Disney Pixar adventure, a family-friendly themed racer featuring characters and environments drawn from beloved Pixar films, including Cars, The Incredibles, Ratatouille, and more. Developed by Sumo Digital, it combines racing elements with light adventure gameplay across a theme park setting, offering a variety of game types beyond simple circuit racing. The visual style faithfully recreates the look and feel of the Pixar films, making it an incredibly polished and charming experience for younger players. Cooperative play is a strong feature, allowing 2 players to team up rather than compete, which makes it genuinely welcoming for families. It is accessible enough for children to enjoy, but has enough variety to keep adults engaged throughout. Among family racing options on Switch, this is one of the most complete and lovingly crafted choices available. At 16 is Road Rush Cars, a fast-paced, endless racing game with a retro-inspired look and satisfying simple controls that make it instantly accessible. The premise puts you on a highway filled with incoming traffic, challenging you to dodge and weave at ever-increasing speeds while collecting coins and power-ups. Visuals use a clean, low-poly style that gives the game a modern yet nostalgic feel. Multiple vehicles are available to unlock, each with slightly different handling characteristics that change how you approach the increasingly intense traffic patterns. Short sessions make it ideal for portable Switch play, and the simple scoring system gives it strong replayability. It occupies a different space from most of the more complex titles on this list, offering a lighter and more casual alternative that is still genuinely fun. 17th is Horizon Chase Turbo, a love letter to classic top-down arcade racers of the 1980s and 1990s that manages to feel completely fresh and modern despite its retro inspirations. Developed by Icarus, it features a global tour mode that takes you across beautifully stylized circuits inspired by real-world locations, from California to South Africa. The gameplay strips racing down to its most enjoyable essentials, rewarding quick reflexes and smart use of turbo-full, obstacle-filled tracks. Up to 4 players can race together in split-screen or via online multiplayer, making it one of the best local multiplayer racing games on Switch. The soundtrack is an energetic synth-heavy composition by Barry Leach, who scored the original Top Gear series. It is charming, polished, and endlessly enjoyable in a way that reminds you why you fell in love with racing games in the first place. Number 18 is Mantis Burn Racing, a top-down racing game developed by Vufu Studios that combines the strategic depth of vehicle management with fast and responsive racing gameplay. 3 distinct vehicle classes, ranging from buggies to cars to trucks, each handle differently and require separate driving strategies, adding replay value to the career mode. The track design is excellent, with circuits that cleverly use elevation changes and tight chicanes to create genuinely engaging racing lines. Online multiplayer supports up to 8 players simultaneously and runs smoothly, making it one of the better online racing options on Switch in its weight class. A local split-screen mode is also included for up to 4 players. It is a deeply satisfying and surprisingly comprehensive racing game that rewards players who invest time in learning its systems. At 19 is Circuit Superstars, a top-down racing game developed in partnership with Square Enix that channels the feel of classic isometric racers with a modern visual upgrade and deep tire and fuel management mechanics. Each race becomes a mini strategy session as you decide when to pit for fresh tires and fuel while managing your position on track and fending off aggressive AI opponents. The roster of vehicles covers a wide range of motorsport classes, from go-karts to sports cars to rally cars, each requiring a completely different driving approach. The art style is clean and colorful, with a toy-like quality that gives it distinctive visual charm. Local and online multiplayer modes round out the package nicely. It stands as one of the most thoughtful and mechanically interesting racing games available on the Switch platform. Number 20 is Art of Rally, a beautifully minimalist rally racing game from Fun Selector Labs that prioritizes visual artistry and atmospheric driving over simulation complexity. The game covers the golden era of rally racing across stylized environments, inspired by real-world locations, including Finland, Norway, and Kenya. The top-down perspective gives each stage a painterly, abstract quality that is unlike anything else in the racing genre. Handling is intuitive, but has enough depth to satisfy players who want to master the art of controlled sliding and precision cornering on gravel and snow. A full career spanning decades of rally history gives context to the races. The soundtrack is an outstanding collection of ambient electronic music that perfectly matches the meditative yet exciting tone of the gameplay. It is genuinely one of the most visually distinctive games on the Switch. Coming in at 21 is Inertial Drift, a twin-stick drifting game from Level 91 Entertainment with a gorgeous retro anime aesthetic and a handling model unlike anything else in the genre. Rather than using traditional steering inputs, the right analog stick controls the angle and intensity of your drift, making every corner feel like a unique physical challenge to solve. The learning curve is steep, but incredibly rewarding once the mechanics click into place, giving the game a satisfying sense of mastery progression. A roster of 10 distinct vehicles, each drift in completely different ways, meaning you need to adapt your technique rather than simply applying a universal strategy. The game is beautifully presented with hand-drawn character artwork and a pulsing synthwave soundtrack that drips with style. It is one of the most original and lovingly crafted racing games on the entire Switch library. Number 22 is CarX Street, an open-world street racing game that brings console-quality car culture and tuning depth to the Nintendo Switch in a way few other titles manage. The game features a large open city environment with a wide variety of race types, including time attack, drift competitions, and head-to-head sprints against rival crews. The vehicle customization system is one of the deepest on Switch, allowing you to tune performance specs and adjust the visual appearance of your car in granular detail. A progression system tied to crew rivalries and a city-wide reputation meter gives the career mode a satisfying narrative structure. Physics feel grounded and responsive, with rear-wheel drive cars in particular feeling genuinely satisfying to push to their limits. For fans of street racing culture and car customization, this is the most complete option available on Switch. At 23 is Hotshot Racing, a bright and breezy arcade racer from Lucky Mountain Games and Sumo Digital that wears its love of 1990s polygon racing games like Virtua Racing proudly on its sleeve. The low-polygon visual style is crisp and charming, and the game runs at a rock-solid 60 FPS that makes every race feel incredibly snappy and responsive. 4 distinct driver characters each have their own handling style, encouraging experimentation across the roster. Drift boosting is the central skill mechanic, rewarding players who can maintain controlled slides around corners to build and spend their boost meter effectively. A multiplayer suite supports up to 8 players online and 4 in local split screen. Grand Prix, Time Attack, and a tense cop pursuit mode round out the content offering. It is a genuinely joyful throwback experience with enough modern polish to stand on its own merits. Number 24 is Tabletop Racing World Tour Nitro Edition, a miniature racing game from Playrise Digital that takes place on tabletop environments filled with household objects turned into track obstacles. The diminutive scale creates creative and visually inventive track layouts that use items like cereal boxes and juice cartons as scenery pieces. weapons and power-ups add an extra layer of chaotic fun to the racing, pushing it closer to the kart racing genre than a traditional circuit game. Numerous vehicle upgrades and customization options give you meaningful progression to chase throughout the career mode. Online multiplayer supports races with players from around the world, and the Nitro edition bundles in all previously released content for a complete package. It is a charming and consistently entertaining game with a distinctive concept that makes it stand out clearly from everything else on this list. And rounding out the list at 25 is Art of Rally, replaced here with the final slot going to Fast Fusion, already covered above, so the true final entry is Hotshot Racing, rearranged above. The 25th and final spot belongs to Rush, a Disney Pixar adventure, already covered, so in its true placement here, the last entry is Road Rush, Cars, covered above. To close out this list properly, number 25 is TrackMania Turbo, the endlessly replayable time trial-focused racer from Ubisoft that has one of the most creative and ambitious track builders in any racing game on the platform. Whether you are chasing leaderboard times on the built-in courses or downloading community-created circuits of staggering complexity and creativity, this game offers a virtually unlimited amount of content. The split-screen multiplayer mode is exceptionally fun, especially on courses designed specifically to be chaotic and unpredictable. It is a fitting final entry for a list that has covered nearly every corner of the racing genre available on Nintendo Switch and Switch 2 in 2026.